So, Lindsay made a big announcement yesterday at the Sundance Film Festival. And the announcement is that she's returning to the big screen in a psychological thriller called Inconceivable. Perfect title. Isn't it funny how she's so thin from the neck down, but she's got a bunch of chins under here? Are you standing next to the bar? Is that weight gain or is that bloatation? That's bloatation right there. All right, and you see this man over her shoulder right here? He's the producer of the movie, and he's got a lot of faith in Lindsay. Well, let's see what he has to say. Go ahead.
You know when somebody's ready to go back to work. She's beyond ready. You know, she's prepared herself. She puts in the time. She works on the script. So that part of her life I wasn't really around. So that doesn't bother me. What bothers me, what concerns me is today, and I know the person she is today. She's an artist. You know, a lot of artists go through things. She went through a phase, but she's still, as young as they get. I mean, she's a big child star. So this is the second part of her life. She hasn't even really begun, in my opinion. It's just starting now.
Let me preface this by saying I'm rooting for Lindsay. Coming from a place of addiction, I realize how difficult it is to get your life together. I also, by the way, think that she's a beautiful girl, whether she's injected, not injected, or whatever. No, I'm not laughing. She is a very, very pretty girl, and she's only 27 years old. I know, more like 47, right? She looks like one of my town harpies, a grown woman with the years on her life. But look, leave those drugs and booze alone. But you know why I'm rooting for her? I'm rooting for her because at 27 years old, she really does have, so many years left to rise to greatness and earn money. Look at Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore was on the cover of, I think, the Elle magazine. I was reading the article. I love Drew Barrymore. She's got that little olive, and she's got another bun in the oven, and she's married to Will Koppelman, not a baby's mother. She's married to Will Koppelman. And, Drew has done just about every pill in the cabinet and snorted every line of Peru. And, she was addicted by the time she was like 12 years old. And that's not an exaggeration. She's not getting along with her mother now, Jade, because Jade, I guess, is toxic while Drew tries to set up and be a family woman with traditional values. So she's kicked her. We talked about this before. Anyway, if Drew Barrymore can do it, if Robert Downey Jr. can do it, then you can do it, Lindsay. And I did a little research on this particular director. He's not a schlub. He's produced movies with Mark Wahlberg and Arnold Schwarzenegger. This particular movie, Inconceivable, is going to be put out by Lionsgate Pictures. And there is a chance. The problem is, Lindsay, you've got to act above board. Drew and Robert Downey Jr. were never seen falling out of clubs. We have to read about most of the stuff that happened with them through magazines, but there was no TMZ back then. There were no camera phones. It's a different world, Lindsay, and we see everything. And I know what I'm thinking right now with you standing next to that bar. And I also know what the streets have been saying about you since getting out of rehab. And I'm not gonna say a word, but read my mind.